All right, so this one I'm really hoping, and this is my prediction, it's more of a friggin' want. We'll get more of a story, an origin story as well, but more of a story on the Troxen. So, of course, those little tanks that are up there, the tanks that get opened up, of course, I've already explained about the military base that I want and all that, but I hope they really go in depth about that leads me to the Troxens, about this ooze or whatever you want to call it, the smoke that comes out. We need an in-depth focus on it, why they made it in the first place, how it became about, the top secret with the military of why they have it. So this goes back as well to my military base of why I want it in there, but why they stored it as well in the first one, because this is a remake of the first one. Why did they end up having to store some of the barrels, we call them barrels here, the barrels in the medical supply warehouse near the cemetery? What a place to, the medical supply warehouse, they store it down in the basement next door to a cemetery. Good idea. when they know it brings the dead back to life. So I want to know why they've stored it there as well. So this is a kind of, I want more on the Troxen, more of an origin Troxen story, adding to my military base. What do you think? Don't you want to know?
Yeah, I love it, and I think that I mean, it's a big part of the the first one. So I mean, I'd love to know where it came from and have a whole backstory. And like have just understand more about it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I think they have to. I think basically, like, go back and watch our other ones if you haven't seen them. But the military lab from Part 3 has to be in it. The back to basics has to be added into this, and to make this a good film. And this really, the origin story of the Troxen, really has to be in it as well. So all three of our plugs, you got to thumb up this, everyone, and write in the comments what you think, because to make this a serious movie and to make this a really good movie, a good remake, we don't want just a one-off. We want all three remade. So what do you think in the comments? Just let us know. Let's have an origin story here.
Yeah,
we'll be back with more.
I'm gonna go. Oh, this is more that I want it to happen, and because of the originals and all that. But I think that this film has to be practical. No CGI bullshit.
Yes.
All right. I want practical gore all around. You could have a little CGI touch up, but just practical effects. All right, for this, because you look back at the original ones and they're all practical and they're all wicked, and like it's such. You look at all the Terrifier films; they're so good when they're doing, and it's so creative, And not that I'm saying CGI isn't. I just think for these sorts of films, right, practical is the way to go. And like, and just you look at the makeup on Old Mate at the top. I'm like, that's what I want. I want goo. I want fucking, I want all that shit. Melting faces and blood and guts. That they're creating. And that's the big one I want from this film. And
you could bring in from the Night of the Living Dead movies and these Return of the Living Dead movies and Dawn of the Dead movies. Bring Tom Savini in to do some of this stuff. He can do it.
Yeah, 100%. And it would be wicked. And like, we've been lucky enough to have the Terrifier films. So he really is knocking it out of the park with the effects. But I think that it should be a standard now for. I'm not saying for all films, but just for these sorts of gore films and for zombie films and all that, it should just be practical. I know it's more expensive or whatever, but I mean, the difference is night and day, And that's my big one.
I think it would be harder for them to do, like, you see these budget shark and crocodile movies and all that, and alligator movies, and and all that stuff, and you see the fake CGI blood, and it just ruins it. But
Yeah.
I'm sure it doesn't cost you that much money to make a big tub of fucking 20 liters of fake blood to see fake blood just splurting out and all that and spraying over people. It looks wicked. It looks more real. When actors get friggin' fake blood sprayed in their eyes, they're going to get a real reaction of fucking, oh shit, if they can't see and all that. And just seeing someone being ripped open and then spraying fake blood, practical. I like it, man. I'm hoping it goes practical as well. And let's call it back to basics.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, just look at all the original horror films, not just zombie films, and they're so much better than newer films. With the CGI gore, because you can just see it a mile away, and it just takes you out of the film for me, anyway. But yeah,
Nah, I agree. Back to basics. Do you want it to go back to basics? No CGI at all. I do. Do you want Tom Savini to come and be a part of Return of the Living Dead? I fucking do. Just write in the comments what you think. We'll be back with more Return of the Living Dead predictions and other horror movies and all movies that are coming out, because that's what we like doing. So drop a comment and a thumbs up. We'll be back. All right, this is a want and a bit of a prediction, but I really think that this needs to happen for this movie. This remake needs to be more serious than the original. It needs to be taken and focused on a serious level. I want the origin story of all the toxins. I want the origin story of the military base. Don't get me wrong, there'll be puns. Of course, there'll be puns and there'll be some laughs, but we want the movie to take a serious turn. Now, I don't want people going to kill me and hate me, but I don't want Frankie up there and Freddy yelling all the time and screaming as they did the whole first movie. They're constantly screaming and come on, calm down. Don't hate me for saying that, but I want it to be more of a little bit serious. They can really turn this into a new franchise if it's pulled off properly and correctly with the military base and all that. I really think if they do it like Dawn of the Dead remake, there we go. So that will bring it more to you. If they do it more of a series, they still have a little bit of laughs in it, but if they make this into a comedy, it's going to be a one-off. Simple as that. If they do this in the style of like the Dawn of the Dead remake and take it a little bit more serious, still have some funny puns in there, but take it a lot more serious and have some origin stories, they could really turn this into a franchise again. They really can. But if it's a one-off comedy, it's going to be a one-off. If they make it serious, I really think they can kill this and make it a wicked franchise again. What do you reckon?
I agree, 100%. I agree about the two guys yelling. It was very, very irritating. I'm sorry to anyone who adores that side of it. I don't know why you would.
It annoyed me as well.
Yeah, I found it grating. But 100%. I love when films. I love campy films as well, and I love fun ones. But when they do some seriousness to them, I love that all the more. And like, you can still have funny bits or funny moments in it, but you don't. The whole thing doesn't have to be And like, it would be a different thing for this. This film. It would be. And I want different when I'm watching films. I don't want them to like shot for shot remake. I want it to be different. And 100% agree with you that a serious side to it would be fantastic. And like, and like to have some stakes as well, where if you might lose a character here or there you're not expecting. 100, mate.
For instance, Dawn of the Dead remake, and we'll use this as an example because it's such a fucking good remake. It's in the shopping center, just like the original. But at the start, we get to see the start of how and what happened, of how she ends up in there. Just like I want the start to be the military base and how it happens. So this one, we can have it all evolve to that where they're storing the containers and then the cemeteries next door. Not a problem. Just and then the mate's waiting for his friend to finish work and they're hanging out in the graveyard because they're punks. Not a problem. I don't mind that. I just don't want all that yelling from Freddie and Frank.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't need all that screaming. I don't need all that. I know that they were trying to touch on a comedy side there. A lot of people were going to hate me for saying it, but that really annoyed me, all the screaming. I'm trying to watch this movie. I love this movie, the original, but I try and watch this movie, and then you got your wife in the other room going, "Fucking turn it down! What are they screaming for?" Yeah, so you don't need all that, but I don't mind if they still they smell the canister and they're dying slowly. That's not a problem. Have it more of a serious side of it. So more of a serious side
Agree.
to make this franchise turn into a fucking wicked franchise again. Don't let it drop.
Well, you could do like what David Gordon Green did with Halloween. You could have another 3 and do it
Yeah,
like and then have a cliffhanger of an ending for the first one, and then announce you're doing the second one in a year, and then the third one in a year, sort of
yeah.
thing. That would be wicked. Yeah, yeah,
If this can be successful, this really will be a successful movie. I really do think so. If it's done properly and it's not fucking just a one big laugh. But
yeah.
that's all I got to say about that. What do
Totally,
you reckon?
totally agree, mate. Yeah, and I want that to happen. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, because I know the first ones are iconic, but I mean, we could have another really great trilogy or whatever. How many ever they want to do. So yep,
100%. Well, remember at the end, the second one, there's a fucking zombie dressed as Michael Jackson.
yeah,
We don't need that. We need more of a
no,
serious touch like the third one.
yep.
I like the third one.
The
So
third one's my favorite.
the third one's my favorite as well. It's fucking, and it's on Plex now for free.
Yep.
If you don't have it. But anyway, what do you think of that? Let us know in the comments. We're going to be back with more predictions for other movies coming out. Let us know. Thumbs it up, and let us know what you think. We'll be back. All right, so Return of the Living Dead. I am looking forward to this remake, but I've really got one wicked suggestion that I really, really want them to do. And part 3 is my favorite. Everyone's going, what the fuck? Part 3 is your favorite? Part 3 is my favorite. I love the third one with the chick bloke bringing his girlfriend back to life. I think part 3's military base, the lab in the military base, will be included in the story. I think it should be a big part of the story as well for this movie. I know it wasn't in the original, and this is a remake of the original, but I want to take that from part 3 and bring it into this remake movie, because we'll get major focus on the lab's work and the lab's workers, like we saw in the second half of the third movie, where we saw all the
Hmm.
experiments happening, and the very start as well, where we saw the experiments happening, and the testing from part 3. I think that they should really bring this into the remake of Return of the Living Dead, because it'll explain everything about how it's all happening and why it's
Yeah,
happening. And before the initial all this remake happens, I think we should get about 20 minutes or 15 minutes in the opening scene of the lab, the military base lab. What do you think?
yeah, love it, mate. Yeah, and that lab's awesome, so it would look cool in the
Yeah.
new one. And yeah, I think that's a great prediction, mate. And I think that it definitely, yeah, is valid. It has some, yeah, it definitely could happen for sure. And
You want to see the testing. You want to see where it all
yeah,
begins.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm with you. I think the third one's the best one.
Yeah.
Yeah, not just for that one scene in the
Yeah.
cemetery. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that, yeah, 100% think that your theory could definitely happen. So,
Look,
yeah, right on board.
we don't they don't have to use the boyfriend and girlfriend sneaking in the lab and fucking seeing what's happening, and then his girlfriend dies and he sneaks in and freaking brings her back to life. We don't have to have all that. All I'm saying is we just want the lab and the military base to show where the trioxin comes from, where this gas and these canisters and all that come from, and what the experiments they're doing before we get some of these canisters burst open
Mm.
like the original. So that's what I'm
Yeah,
going with. That's what I'm going with. And I would love it.
love it.
I actually really, really, really want them to do it. I really want them to do it. Because then we'll get to see where this guy comes from as well. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
I think that'll be brilliant. What do you think in the comments? We're going to do a fair more Return of the Living Dead predictions and other movies as well. Let us know. Do you want the military base from part 3 to be in the first remake? I do.
100%.
Let us know. Let us know. All
Down
right.
below.